Well, one of the YouTubers asked how I make trays. Well, I guess I should show a finished tray first here. This is actually a tray for one of the teapots. So that would be, you know, it kind of finished. First layer is actually glass. There's a sheet of glass here. It's got a wire mesh, hold it to the side there, on the side. It's got a couple typewriter parts for the handles. And then inside are the cups. That's what it looks like on the inside. So there's a rim for the lid to fit on, and then underneath it's just trimmed, and I put little, looks like it's kind of screwed together there. But that's it. So there's, you know, it's basically thrown like a dog dish, where it's flat bottom, straight side, and just make an edge for the lid to sit in. And then the other ones that I do are upside down, so the piece would sit on it like that. And this, they're hollow underneath. This one is wood fired, and the little screw holes on the top, and then, you know, just a couple marks on the outside for interest. And I'll throw both of these. They're pretty much the same, but when I trim them, that's what makes up the difference here. So for the trays, so I'm going to make the tray that goes upside down first. I'm going to use a masonite bat. The masonite bat's actually going to absorb some of that water, so I can flip it over quicker and trim it. On the other one, I'll use the plastic bat. So I'm starting to use a red clay now. Actually, I'm using a couple different clays. This one is SB Red. It's a West Coast body from Laguna. And I'm using B3 Brown, which is also a West Coast body. And what's the other one I'm using? Oh, 20. 20 is a low fire clay. It's a terracotta, but it can get fired to cone 6 successfully. No, more like cone 5. Cone 6, it gets a little bubbly. But I'm using these different clays because I'm looking for a way to glaze these steampunk pourers, so I don't have to get every little nook and cranny and worry about the bottoms. So I've just centered this. I'm going to flatten it out a little bit. To get that started, I'm going to press in the middle and continue to flatten it out. And as I'm flattening it out, I'm making sure that I'm pressing down against the wheel head. It's important that the clay dust doesn't get flopped over this, that it actually moves against the wheel head out. If you flop it over, you'll get water underneath it, and it'll cause bubbles and stuff as you pull out the bottom, or it'll just makes it messy. You want to make sure that it's pressed down, and it spreads out being pressed down. And then you're going to start from the middle. You're going to make sure, again, you're pressing down, you're moving out towards 3 o'clock to the diameter that you want, and then go back and compress this base. Now this base, if you notice, is kind of thick. I want it thick so that I can put the screw parts on it, so I can trim a little bit, so I got a little room to play. I'm not, you know, all these pours that I'm making, or at least the trays and stuff, I'm not so concerned with the weight of them. I want the look, you know, so the look is a lot more important to me than the weight of these. I'm going to go underneath, I'm pressing down, I'm getting some clay up off the wheel head so I can pull the wall. So I'm going to get inside and outside, I'm going to lift up, keeping my finger on top to keep it level. Just do that one more time. And then I'm going to go back, flexible metal rubber def, clean up the outside. Cut the skirt off. Now the part that's against the wheel head now, I'll be able to trim to put any kind of detail in it that I want. But at the top here, I don't want to have to flip it back over and do another step. So I'm going to use some of my, let's see, I can get them in the picture here. Some of my credit card tools. So this one has a little notch in it that will make the rim at the top here. I'm going to go back and just smooth it with my finger. There we go, got that little detail now. And I'm just going to cut it. I'm going to let it dry a little bit and then I'll cut it. So that's pretty much pretty much it. That'll sit to the side. And then the other one that I'm going to want to do more to the top with is going to be on a plastic bat. This will mean that the bottom part will dry a lot slower, and I'll have more time to work with either putting more screws on it, maybe putting a nameplate on it. And then the clays, the B3 Brown and the SB Red that I'm using right now are pretty stiff. They've been around here for a bit. We don't sell them a lot. They're almost like a misfit clay, because you can see the color of it. It stains tremendously. And the B3 Brown actually has manganese in it. So then there's, you know, the whole manganese fit, whether or not it's safe, how much exposure you can have before it's not good. I'm going to flatten it out. Just start in the middle. And this one I need to leave more clay in the lip, so I have enough clay to make that flange for the lid. So I might leave the bottom of this one a little thinner, just to get the clay that I want out there. Go back and compress it. Clean it up with the rib. It's important that this one has a nice smooth bottom, because there's going to be something going in it, whether it's a cup or maybe the cream and sugar will go underneath here. But I want it to be flat. I'm going to go back to the edge here. I want to lift this clay up. Compress it. Start at the bottom again. So the clay that's up here. So now I'm going to clean up the outside a little bit with the rib. Cut the skirt off. And then I'm going to split the lip here to make the flange. Again, I'll go to one of my credit card tools. I'm just going to press kind of in the middle, pressing down. After it starts to dry out, making sure I get it wet so that the tool slides rather than peels. I've got my flange, smooth it out, clean it up on the outside. And there we go. So those are the trays.